Okay, we are live.
Okay.
Everything it should be streaming to YouTube if things are working correctly. I just upgraded the operating system in my Mac last night. I haven't found any idiosyncrasies to it yet, but
Well,
it
that's good.
runs way. Yeah. All right. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself and about your infrared.
Well, I just started to dabble with the infrared about a year and a half ago, and I got hooked on it. And basically, where my frustration really lies is with the Vivisa and playing with the control points. For whatever reason, every time I place a control point on on a subject, the color bleeds over past the subject area. And then, for example, if I do the sky, I put a control point on the sky and I increase the saturation and everything. That's all fine and good. Starting is not a problem. Then I'll take a control point and place it on a tree that is partially in the sky. And when I start copying the control points from one section to the next, the color bleeds into the sky. So then I have to go in, and I don't understand why.
Oh, so that's okay. That's an easy problem to fix.
I don't know if it's my
We
hand-eye coordination or whatnot, but I've watched your two videos that you have because I have bought your CDs. I must have watched them 20 times and paying really close attention every time you place those control points, and yours never bleed over to the next. And I just don't know what I'm missing, what I'm not seeing.
Okay, I will tell you what it is. You are missing the anchor points that protects the area around what you're modifying.
Now, do I place the anchor points after I place the control point, or
Yes. Yeah. And
doesn't that anchor? Because what I've tried that, and what happened was that anchor then removed another control point that I had in another section of the picture.
yeah, well, okay, yeah, I will show you that here today. How to do
Okay,
it.
if you could show me what exactly how you do it, and that would be a big help, because right now that is my post processing with Vivisa is probably one of my biggest headaches.
All right, we will work on that today. Do you have any other things that you'd like to talk about also?
Well, what I like when you're playing with the control points, the red, green, blue sliders. When I'm watching a video, you say if you can increase red, increase green, decrease blue. How do you know which direction to go to get colors? Because I'm going back and forth constantly, and I get such bizarre colors. If you could just kind of give me insight as to, I guess it's color theory, and I'm not quite sure
Yeah.
how the colors are coming up and how I would get magenta, how I would get blue, or how I would get a lilac, for example, something like that.
Sure.
And I don't know which direction to put each slider that would give me a main color category, and then I can always play after that.
Okay, yeah, that has to do with art, plain and simple. Learning how to mix colors to get the color you want with a brush and a palette and different paint colors. That's all that is. And that's going to come with experience.
Okay, so it's basically practice.
Yes, but I will get you started in that as well.
Okay.
Anything else?
As far as the post-processing, that's about it. It's just those two things that are driving me crazy. I mean, I'm good with the color channel swaps. I'm good with layers in Photoshop, and sometimes I do my post-processing in Photoshop with layer masks and all that. But sometimes I'd like to get into Vivisa because you can get a little bit more control on things. Because sometimes playing with the brushes and making selections in Photoshop is not that easy. So
Yeah.
as
Okay.
as
All right.
far as that, it's just basically post-processing. And then I just have one general question regarding custom white balance.
All right. Why don't you give me that?
Okay. I'm only here in Atlanta, and right now, all of our foliage down here in Atlanta has yellow tint to it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I want to set my custom white balance against green foliage, I get close, but I'm really not thrilled with it. Like I compare my 720 to, now I know that we use different cameras and different lenses, and the recording of the white balance will be different. So
Yes.
you'll have results different than mine. But at least I'd like to be in the same family of the color tones.
All right.
My sky, instead of coming out a nice bronze, it sort of comes out brownish gray with the 720 filter. And I don't know if it's the type of foliage I'm using. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about that too. The thing about white balance is it has a lot to do with the cameras and the lenses, and the filters, but it also has to do with the conversion. Um, Different companies use different thicknesses of filters when they put them inside your camera and do the conversion, and everybody's filters behave differently.
Well, Kalari did my conversion, and I did a two spectrum conversion.
Okay.
And all of my filters are from Kalari. I bought all of them from Kalari. So everything is Kalari. And I use
Hey,
a Sony A7R2.
okay. Have you tried doing a manual white balance during raw conversion?
Yes, I have. I've gone through the whole DNG profile and calibrating, creating a profile with my camera. And when I do that, oh my goodness gracious, the colors that I get.
Oh no, that's not at all what I mean.
Oh, okay, then I know I don't understand.
There's a simple one button push in the raw converter that will do it for you.
Okay.
Now, do you have what are you using for raw conversion?
Um, I use primarily DxO because they have the white balance eyedropper, or I use the native Sony viewer that I downloaded from their website.
Okay, well, Photoshop has that eyedropper, Lightroom has that eyedropper, and Capture One has that eyedropper. But to that, Photoshop has a tendency to not like an infrared white balance. Some cameras they do, some cameras, and if the white balance that we give the camera and then send to Photoshop, if Photoshop disagrees with that,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to default to normal white balance that our eyes see around 5,000 degrees Kelvin. Then your infrared images are all going to look bright red or bright pink.
Right.
Are you seeing any of that?
When I bring it into the Adobe Raw viewer for Photoshop, yes, my image looks red.
Okay, and that's with a proper white balance applied in camera.
Yes.
Okay. I would like for you to consider a slightly different approach in raw conversion.
Okay, I'm going to be writing this down.
Okay, well, you're going to also be able to reference this video later
Oh,
too.
that's true. Okay.
But there is another program called Capture One, and it loves infrared.
Okay, I downloaded Capture One Express for Sony, so
Okay.
I just haven't installed it yet.
All right, yeah, that's a real good start because that's free.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so that gives me three things to talk about today with you. How do you like the A7R2 as an infrared body?
Oh, I love it. The pictures come out sharp. It's great. It's a really simple. I love the camera.
Okay, yeah, I'm using an A6300 that's been modified to 850 nanometers. That's the deep contrast black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also using an A6500 at 720 nanometers.
Okay.
I do have an A7R2 as well. And when I shoot digital, that's my main digital system that I shoot for normal color work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But having said that, do you know that with your A7R2 converted to a dual spectrum conversion, that you can put a filter on the end of its lens and turn it back into a normal color camera?
Yes, I've purchased the hot mirror.
Okay.
I've done that. I have the hot mirror, the 590, the 720, and the 830 or 850. I get
Okay.
confused which one it is. Those are the four filters that I have for both of my. I have two copies, one for one set for each lens.
Okay. All right. Well, know this about 720. 720 has very little color in it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's hard to get any color out of it. It wants to come across mostly as black and white. Sometimes it'll give you decent color. It's going to be related to the light that's hitting the scene. It's going to be related to the filter, the 720 filter that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things affect this, okay?
You keep cutting
All
in
right,
and
so
out. You keep breaking up.
Let me check here. I'm going to turn my bandwidth down a little. Is it the audio that's breaking up or the video?
A little bit, yes.
Okay, because I can hear myself come back over your speakers back to me. And that will generate a slight amount of feedback. But that's okay. We can work around that too.
Okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my desktop with you, okay?
Okay.
So the screen that we're talking on is going to go away. And now you should see my desktop.
No, I don't. I see you.
Still?
There we go. Nope, now I see
Okay.
mountains.
Yes, that's my desktop.
That's your desktop.
Okay. Yeah, those are from Tunnel View in Yosemite from last year.
Oh, that's beautiful. I loved going there.
Okay. So the first thing, let's look at some infrared images, okay?
But you seem to always manage to get lots of pretty colors off of the 720 because your videos were using the 720 filter.
Yes, but they were using different cameras and different conversions. You have to remember that that makes it different.
Okay.
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 Some people have a really thick 720 filter that it gets less color. So let's go here. All right. Now, I want you to look at this image.
Okay.
This is 720 nanometers. And this conversion was done by LDP or maxmax.com.
Yes, I have one of their filters as well.
Right. Their filters always let through a bit more color. All right.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a different, let's open Bridge.
Now the picture that I'm looking at, the pinkish, did you use is that the result of a custom white balance or is that a result of an auto white balance and now you're going to do some other things with it?
No, this is a custom white balance. You cannot auto white.
If you're speaking, I can't hear anything.
Yeah, I heard the noise too. I don't know what that was, but it seems to be gone. But no, you cannot use an auto white balance with infrared every single time.
Okay, because the result of what my pictures look like off the 720 with a filter is the sky is pretty much the same color, but my trees are pretty white.
Oh, see, that's fine.
It yes, it looks more like the one that's underneath it in your film strip there. Yep,
Yeah.
that's what my 720 looks like.
Okay. All right. So let's
That's exactly what it looks like,
okay.
actually.
Yeah, it's going to depend upon the white balance. What we're looking for, let's go back to this color. See how the
Okay.
sky is more bronze here?
Mm-hmm.
All right. But on the trees, we're looking for a monochromatic white with a blue tint. Okay. So
Okay.
now when we go to this one, we're still seeing bronze, but now the trees are white with a blue tint. This is a correct white balance.
Okay.
All
So
right.
okay, yeah, so I'm good there then.
Yes,
That
you are.
because that is my result.
Okay. And then this is after post processing with Visa and then going through the chromography channel swap. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've seen this video about, like I said, about 20 times.
All right. So I tell you what, let's jump to a different piece of software real quick. Let's drop this into Photoshop. Okay. Uh, I'm not sure if the Photoshop.
Like, are you looking for camera raw filter? Because that's what I usually wind up.
Yeah,
That's where I wind up going.
that's what I'm going to. But see the little eyedropper here?
Yes.
That's your white balance. And if you click on something white, then immediately this takes that white balance and it moves it a little bit more correctly into where it should be. Now we've got a kind of a greenish bronze in the
Yes.
sky, and we have white with a blue tint, which is okay. All right, we're going to drop the exposure down so we don't want those leaves blown out. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the temperature and the tint, usually a good white balance is going to be a little bit more blue. Move the tint, leaving the temperature alone, to come back more to this. Now, here we've kind of got that greenish grayish sky thing happening that you were complaining about.
Right.
Okay, but this is bound for post processing. So if I say okay to this and take that back into Photoshop with that correction made to it, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to start Visa.
Oh, you're not doing a channel swap?
Not yet.
Okay.
In Visa, I'm going to up the saturation just a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Just a little. And I'm going to add a little bit of structure, okay? And say, okay. And now I'm going to go into my actions, and I will go down to the channel. I will run that. And just that fast, you see how close we got?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Increasing the saturation of the overall image can really help during the channel swap.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Now, normally during channel swap, the sky takes on more of a blue-green, leaning towards aqua.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This looks good. This looks good up here, but down here it has a slight blue-green.
Yes.
I go in up here into the master, and then I will go down to cyan. And then I would just adjust the hue to try and bring that back in closer. Okay. Whoa, we've got a bad network connection, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay, then say okay. All right. And I am done with the channel swap now. So let's address your problem with Vivisa now.
Okay.
Make this full screen. We'll just jump right in. Normally I will run define here.
Mm-hmm.
Define is just a noise reduction algorithm, and I run it in automatic mode. It's going to analyze, and I don't make any changes. I just say okay.
Okay.
And it's going to do a basic low-level noise reduction. Okay. Once that's done, then I will go into Vivisa. And make it full screen. And then I would just simply start in one corner. I will start up here in the clouds. I will put a control point on those clouds, and I will desaturate them to bring them out white. See the difference?
Yes.
It will make the sky pop a little more. I will add a little bit of brightness to it. I will add a little bit of structure, which will also increase the brightness. Now, when I do this, do you notice this, when I'm moving this control point around, you notice the size of that circle?
Yes.
Okay. It's anything that has white in it that circle intersects with is going to be changed. When we do a control point selection, it's selecting a color palette rather than contrasts or subject or pixels. We're looking strictly at colors, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it. On your computer, it would be the Alt key. On mine, it's Option. I would just push it down, click on the control point, and copy it over here with all of those changes made to it, all of the edits, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to copy another one up here. All right. Now, I want you to look at this blue area because by changing the white, we've changed the blue slightly.
Yes, we did.
I'm going to put a control point on that blue with no edits to it.
Okay.
That is your anchor point. That takes everything but the white we selected up here and takes it back to where it belongs.
Okay.
I'm going to put another one down here. Okay, see how it brought the blue back?
Yes.
I'm going to put another one up here in the dark area of the sky. See how it brings the blue back?
Yes.
And one right here. And those are called anchor points, and they prevent other colors from being affected by what we just edited in the cloud.
Okay. And here's where this is what my problem is. If you bring up the circle of the control point that you're currently having your mouse, okay, see how the circle encompasses the white tree and part of the pinkish tree?
Yes.
When I put a control point, let's say on the pinkish tree, then whatever edits I make goes back to the sky.
Okay, well, hold on. Now, the sky has an anchor point on it. Let's do just that very thing. Okay, notice my sky stayed the same because all around this tree I have anchor points.
Okay, which tree are we doing?
We're doing this one right here.
Okay.
All right, so here's what I put on here. I'm going to darken it a little. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of structure, which will brighten it again, but it'll bring out more detail, okay? And now I'm going to
Okay.
go. I'm going to go into the color sliders, and this is your next question.
Yes.
These leaves are kind of pink, and they're kind of pretty that way. Now, remember, everything that we're doing now is highly subjective. This is in your artistic vision.
Right, right.
But now, since I'm doing this, this is going to be my artistic vision, okay?
That's fine.
All right. So I'm going to go down here to my colors. Now, you notice down here we have red, green, blue.
Yes.
If on these control points, see this up arrow, down arrow right here, it's tiny.
Yes, I do know that one. Yeah.
You see, those hue sliders go away. You've got to have it down. And when you do it once, it stays that way. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's go to the tree. The first thing I'm going to look at that and do is I say, there's a pretty pink in there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to increase the red to bring the pink out. Just that simple. And I want that tree to be pink. That's all I'm going to do. But now I'm going to copy this control point. On yours, you'll hold down the Alt key. And then while you're holding the key, click on the control point and drag it to a new position. And then do it again. And we're just going to work right down that tree, see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And don't worry if we change the sky around it. We may need to put another anchor point in later. Okay.
Okay.
That tree's done as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Now let's go look at this tree down here that's also pink.
Okay.
But now see, the control point of the tree here changed this lighter pink to a darker pink. Okay.
Yes, it did.
All right, but that's okay. Because on this tree, I'm going to shoot for some yellow. And to get yellow, I'm going to add red. I'm going to really bring the pink out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add a little green. Okay. See it start to come in yellow?
Yes, a little bit.
I'm going to
Very
take away,
subtle.
I'm going to take away blue.
Okay.
So to get yellow, you add red, you add a little green, and you take away a little blue.
Okay.
I'm going to take the brightness down because it's too bright. I'm going to add a bit of structure, which is micro contrast color sharpening. And I'm going to copy this, holding down my Alt key, clicking on it. I'm going to drop this over here to the tree behind the pink tree. And down here and over here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This background's going to be pink. This is going to be yellow.
Yes, it looks very, very pretty so far.
So now let's go to this big tree over here. And we'll put a control point on it up here, and we're just going to start. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this, so I'm going to experiment with the colors. I'm going to add a little bit of red. I'm kind of hoping we can get kind of an orangish color. A little bit of green. That makes it warmer. See, if I go the other way, it goes really to pink.
Yes.
And the only way you're going to learn this is experience.
I see.
A little bit of negative blue. And I'm looking for kind of a yellowish orange flavor here. A little bit of structure. And now I'm going to start copying this around the tree. Once I get it copied, I'm going to start playing with intensities, contrast. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to make this part right here darker. And let me explain this. A well-structured, well-designed image has color contrasts and monochrome contrasts. that will step across the image like a ladder. And by a change in contrasts or colors, it will create a visual stair step that walks your viewer in from left to right, or right to left, or down to up. We're going to work both horizontally and vertically.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to make this brighter, and this portion over here, I'm going to make darker. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
In order to create those stair steps. Now over here, we're going to brighten it. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Carry this brightness all the way up. We're going to carry this darkness up to this one as well. All right? And that really is enough of a color contrast change
Yes.
to give us that visual step that I want. Light, dark, light, darker. And over here, I'm going to go lighter again, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put another control point over here. The white actually looks kind of nice, don't you think?
Yes, I do.
Maybe we'll go against that. Maybe we'll just do white here. Let's see what that looks like. Every image is different, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And now let's copy this dark orange one over to this tree here so that we can use this as a step in color contrast, okay?
Okay.
So we go lighter, darker, lighter, darker, darker yet, lighter.
Okay.
So now let's go back and look at the sky again. Where I've got these anchor points, maybe I need to move some down closer to the trees. Put one up here in the blue sky showing through. See that what that did?
Yes.
Showing through the tree. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is starting to look pretty good, but now let's work on the covered bridge. All right. I'm going to put a control point on the ceiling, on the roof, and I'm going to totally desaturate it. I want this to be monochromatic. I'm going to add structure to see the sharpness come out?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just going to copy this across this bridge, and I'll probably shrink the circle size down. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it affects less area.
Okay.
And just copy this across this rooftop.
Yes, I noticed that when I was making a building just like this, monochromatic, and it was there was a tree behind it, and when I made the monochromatic, it made the bottom part of that tree monochromatic.
Okay.
Even though I had a anchor point there.
Okay. And then that's exactly what you do. Like if I affected the trees through these windows,
mm-hmm.
I would simply put an anchor point on it. And it's in here as well, okay?
Okay.
Now I'm going to copy this over to this blue house because this blue house is irritating. Okay? I don't like this. This was the only bad part of this composition. Okay?
Oh, you didn't want it at all in the composition?
No, but there was no way. And I have a term for that. Sometimes you get the bear, and sometimes the bear gets you.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that.
Okay, the bear got me on this. There's just sometimes everything is a compromise. Okay, so let's go down to this water under the bridge. Okay,
mm-hmm.
We're going to put a control point there, and I am going to increase the brightness of that water. I don't care what color it comes out right now. I'm going to increase the structure of the water to bring out tonality and contrast in it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And now if I want to change the color
yes,
that control point is affecting, I just go up here and choose a blue and say, okay, all right. And now I'll have to adjust the brightness again because it's too much. Or I can go up here and I can play with the blues here, the reds here, and make the changes that I want to make there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one thing that's wrong with the stream. Can you tell me what it is?
What's wrong with what? The stream?
Yes.
Well, for one, it's a little bit too saturated.
That's it exactly. So I'm going to go up to the saturation, and I'm going to take that saturation way, way down.
Yes, that's much better.
Okay.
Yeah,
and now I'm
that's
going to
more
copy
realistic.
that up here, and in this little puddle of water here. Okay. Now, notice that this blue work turned the rocks blue.
Yes, it did.
So we're just going to drop a control point on those rocks. And I'm going to desaturate them like I do the building. Okay. I'm going to add structure. Structure is a big deal in Vivisa. And I'm going to brighten them ever so slightly. And see, now it's only affecting the rocks. It's really not affecting the area around it now. You see that?
Yes.
So I have so many control points that are protecting it. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do the same thing to this area there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I'm going to work on is the grass and the plants on the ground. Actually, I'm going to delete that control point. And I think I will try copying one from the pink tree down here and see what that does. Let's try it over here. Yeah, that's better over there. See how that made it match better?
Yes.
Okay. And this is kind of nice yellow down here. Now, I don't like this dark area of the sky, the clouds. So I'm going to go back up to here and I'm going to slightly brighten those clouds. Okay. Mm-hmm. And this bothers me a little. So let's try copying it. There we go. But a little less bright.
Oh, now look what it did.
There.
It changed the bottom bit of it to pink.
Yeah, it did because there was nothing down here on those pink areas.
Okay.
But that actually, I like the look of that.
Okay.
If I didn't like it, I would take a control point and I would put down here and take those away. See,
Mm-hmm.
I can remove the effect of that. But I actually kind of like that. Okay.
I did too. To me, it just seemed that all of a sudden you have this pretty yellow orange and now pink is popping up, and that happens with me a lot, and I don't know whether that is a correct color there or not. I don't understand why that pink just popped up.
It's because this color here have some of these in them. And when the control point for this overshadows what these are, it can change them.
Okay.
And that's why you have the anchor points with no adjustments.
Okay.
All right. But it's just like the sky right here. Let's take that control point away. Okay. Even there, we can make some changes. We can try increasing the saturation of the sky a little, see, to bring it more in line with what's already above it. We can darken the sky there, which is actually a little better. Or
I like that a lot.
We can change the hue of the blue. Okay, see, we can make that sky be anything that we want. We can increase the blue in the sky. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Take blue away. All right. And then when we have this to a point that we're done with it, we're not done with the image, but we've got a good start now.
Okay.
I will say okay, and it's going to create an adjustment layer here with the by Visa. Here's the adjustment layer for the um, chromography swap. And there is a huge difference now between where we started from and where we are. All right. Now, one last thing that I like to do before I finish is I like to go down and run Color Effects Pro, which has the same basic controls as Vivisa. In fact, Vivisa is the heart of all of these other filters. Okay.
Okay.
And they have something in here called total contrast.
Oh, I use that one a lot.
Okay. Where we adjust contrast to the highlights. Okay. Look at the difference. Okay. It makes that image snap. It gives it a real 3D effect.
It does.
And then see how the midtones affect the sky? All right. And then, of course, the shadows do the shadows. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And now, to protect the highlights, we might increase this a little, and it keeps the whites from getting blown out.
Okay.
All right. And, you know, if you don't like this, you can go in and do it a different way. You know, you can decrease the saturation here even more.
Oh, no, I love the way this came out.
And then there's before and after by doing tonal contrast on top of what we did, and it makes a huge difference. Don't you think?
I agree. I agree.
Okay.
It's
Oh.
stunning.
So that's all I'll do with tonal contrast. So now, this image has wildly more color than a normal 720 nanometer conversion has. This is a lot closer to the color that you will see in 590.
Yes, I would agree with that. And that's where I get confused because, as you said, 720 doesn't let that much color in, and yet look at the brightness and the number of colors that you have there, and that confuses me.
Yeah.
Well, as to why I even use a 720.
Yeah, that's because of the difference between filters that the different companies use. Mm-hmm. If you want your 720 to look like this, then you need to go to Max or LDP.
Okay.
And ask them for a screw-on 720 nanometer filter that Mark Hilliard has.
Okay.
All right. But honestly, you probably don't need to do that because you're going to have just as much to work with your 590.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is a finished picture, a faux color infrared image, but it's not a finished image because we have to do one more thing. We have to run silver effects on it because we want to see how it looks in black and white. And it actually, with no adjustments, it actually looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does.
So if we go down our recipes, there are some that I like. I like number 5. It's called high structure. That just makes it leap off the page.
Yeah.
And here's high structure smooth. We go down into the teens. Sometimes the gradient filter on the sky makes a difference.
Oh, I like that
full
one.
Dynamic. Yep, full dynamic range harsh. Or smooth. Full spectrum. And you find one that you like. A lot of times the fine art looks really good, but I'm going to go back to number 5 and look at that again. All right. Now, You could also, I like that, but we could also go back to neutral. And over here under brightness, if you click the down arrow, it brings up sub controls. And now we can control our highlights. And it's good for an image to have bright highlights. And do our midtones. And then do our shadows. And you see, this is how the recipes do this inside the recipe.
Yes.
So by just going to the sliders, you could do this. So we have this. Now let's go back to number 5 again. Okay, that's pretty close. I like number 5 better though.
High structure, yes.
Yeah, so I will go back and I will say, okay. So
what happened there?
That's the image.
With the pink in there?
Oh, it hasn't caught up with you yet.
Oh, okay.
You don't see a black and white image?
I do now.
Okay. So now I have all of these adjustment layers. So if I want to do it in black and white, I'll turn this adjustment layer on. If I want to do it in wild and wonderful fall color, I'll turn the silver off. If I want to go and step back through our entire process, there's after we did the manual white balance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's after raw conversion. Now, these layers that we built here, the adjustment layers, these will make for a large file. But they allow,
yes, they would, yes.
But they allow you to go back. And instead of having 3 images, you have 1 image and you can turn them on and off. Or you just go in and you save it first with the black and white. You save it as a black and white image with no layers. And then you save it as your color image with no layers. And then you would have 2 smaller images, okay?
Right.
Okay, so does that help with vibing?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Okay.
It's basically just trial and error and, as you said, practice, experimenting.
And you recognize this image, yes?
Yes, I do. It's one of the ones that you have a video on YouTube that you had processed this one, and yes.
Keep this image. So when you watch the videos on YouTube and when I sit down and I do this in person, you get to see the same image being reworked. And it's not always going to come up the same way.
No, of course not.
Okay. So that's that. So let me close this. Let me close Photoshop. I'm done in Photoshop. Now, if you bring your image up in Photoshop and it looks bright red like this,
mm-hmm.
It's because Photoshop is spewing vomit all over the image because it doesn't know what to do with it.
Well, when I bring up my image, it looks like the one below that one. If you on your film strip, that's what mine looks like.
Photoshop.
Yep.
Good. And it likes your camera. But I want to show you something else. All right. I'm going to show you Capture One. And yes, us lucky owners of Sony cameras get free Capture Ones. I've got 3 licenses because I got 3 cameras.
Now, is this the pro version of Capture One that you have?
This is the pro version. I have been a user of Capture One for a long time. Okay. And you see Capture One's testing my video controller now. I just upgraded my operating system last night, so it's
Oh,
okay. But that's okay. It can work while we talk. This looks very much like Lightroom, doesn't it?
yes.
Okay. It has the same Lightroom import export database engine, or it has a file structure library like Bridge does in Photoshop. You can choose to go either way. I choose the file tree structure because it makes images easier to find.
Okay.
All right. But I'm going to go point it. Let's see, where was I? I'm going to go point it to out. Let's see here. Where did I stick those? I had all my family here. They all just left about an hour ago. I've had them all week. There it is, output. Okay, this is a directory that I've done raw conversion to that I haven't edited yet.
Mm-hmm.
But let's pull up that same image. Okay.
Okay.
Now this has already had the conversion done, the raw conversion, because it's a TIFF, right?
Okay.
Had I brought it in right from the camera, it would have come in like this. Okay.
Okay.
And now, do you notice the difference between this and Photoshop?
Yes, that's it's not as white. It's more yellowish.
Yeah, but that's okay. But look at the sky. I've got my bronze sky instead of that gray green sky.
Yes, you do.
And the reason for that is Capture One will take any white balance you put in that camera and apply it. It doesn't make artistic judgments for you.
Okay.
All right. So I can do all of my editing here in Capture One, like I would do in the raw converter. Plus, it gives me the ability to have adjustment layers. Before the raw conversion, I can do some of this editing in the trees in the sky, but that's a lesson for another day. And actually,
Right.
if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find a video of this very thing.
Okay.
All right. But this is just to show you that Capture One likes the white balances applied to the images. Okay. It loves everything. And it's a much higher quality raw converter. Now, I like DxO, but it is so ungodly slow.
Oh, mine goes really fast.
Yeah, well, it doesn't for me. All right. I have been a user of Capture One for at least 20 years. And it is an amazing editor and raw converter and librarian. But it's personal choice. If you like using, oops, the vacuum robot's turning on. Hold on. Let me go turn it off.
Okay.
Like I said, I've had a house full of 1, 2, 3, 4 grandkids. One girlfriend's 5-year-old of my son. So the house is just dirty right now. They just left a couple hours ago. I highly recommend that since you have a free version of this, that you download it
Okay.
and install it. It is a wonderful piece of software. Look on my YouTube channel. You go to YouTube, do a search, Mark Hilliard
Okay. You've cut out.
Yeah, Mark Hilliard Capture One
Okay.
on my YouTube channel. And watch the editing in Capture One of your raw files.
Okay,
Chances are It will make you lust after having it on your computer. It's a wonderful and powerful piece of software.
Okay. I
Okay.
will install it.
But like everything else, I go to this.
Now, the image that I'm looking at right now with the bronze sky and the white trees, there's nothing wrong with me bringing that into Photoshop and then doing a channel swap. Or do I have to go and adjust the white balance here in Capture One to get back to the...
No, this is a wonderful white balance.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so my white balance. Okay.
Yeah, but I wanted to show you where the white balance eyedrop was. If we go here, see the 3 bowling balls?
Yes.
We can go down here to white balance. There's an eyedropper here, and we can experiment. There's what we did in Photoshop.
Right.
All right. This is actually a little bit more correct with monochromatic leaves with a slight blue tint. You see, the blue is going to change over to red when we do our channel swap.
So, do you recommend that I take the eyedropper and go through this process or not? Or it doesn't
well, if you
matter?
like, it doesn't matter. If you like, I'm going to here, let me set it back to shot. If you like the white balance as is, and then you take it into Photoshop and you don't like it, then come back into here and do another raw conversion and change the white balance.
Okay.
As I will tell you that if I go back to the white balance dropper and click on this and get the blue cast leaves, this is going to be a more colorful image.
Okay.
Okay. Is if we're starting out blue, that means as soon as we do the channel swap, it's going to shift to red. Now I'm going to bring my exposure up. Okay. Protect my highlights. I'm going to bring my shadows up so I have more detail. Okay.
Okay.
And I like that. I'm going to tell it to post-process. I'm going to tell it to convert. I'm going to click on the little gear. And what it's going to do is it's putting it right back in that directory. So it's done. Let me quit Capture One. And let's go back to Photoshop's bridge. All right. This is before. This is after. See, we have more blues, so we'll have more reds.
Okay.
So this is really as the camera set it, which is the more correct, okay?
The second one with the more blues is the more correct one.
Well, this one as it came out of the camera.
Okay.
Because we have more bronze in the sky. So that's good. That bronze, it has more red in it, so it's going to give us a bluer sky.
Okay.
But let's do this. Let's open the one that we just did. Just real quick, okay? Gonna run Visa on it and just increase the saturation a wee bit. Okay, it's just something I always do. As soon as that's done, we'll close this. We'll go into the actions. We'll run that action. Okay. Now look at the difference. In my video, do you remember me telling you that the sky is going to come out blue-green?
Yes.
That's exactly what this did. So I'm going to go up here to master and I'm going to select cyan and I'm going to change my hues to move that to blue. Okay. And now if you want, you can also go into the reds and play with saturations. See that changing?
Yes.
And you can go down into the yellows and play with the saturation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can play with the hue if you want a different color. Go to the magenta, play with it, then say okay. Well, already our sky is better, don't you think?
Yes, very
And
much so.
how before these two trees were it was all the same.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even ended yet, and now we have more yellows, more pinks and
Okay.
whites. So already,
Okay.
see, we're at a different starting point just because of white.
Right.
So if you're working with an image and you find, oh, I just don't like this, go back and try a different white balance.
Okay. Okay. So,
Okay.
all right. I see. Yeah. Okay. So, like you said, it's a lot of
Um,
experimentation and whatever suits your
yeah, it is.
liking.
It's highly subjective. Through the Vives and change the colors of these trees.
Right.
Make my clouds monochromatic. Leave the sky alone. I like the sky. And do everything else like we did it before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'll just keep practicing and playing.